What's up guys, Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we have a fishing video for you, doing some summertime fishing. Got an evening out on the water. We got chatterbaits and flukes and frogs and all sorts of stuff tied on. We're fishing primarily grass, shallow grass today. Should be a good one. Let's go. All right guys, like I said in the intro, we're primarily gonna try and catch them shallow. I wanna catch them on a frog. Hopefully I can get a few bites on a frog. They have dropped the lake like 3 feet in the last 24 hours. So not sure if that's gonna mess it up or not, but I've got a lot of storms the last few days and they just crashed the water out of here. So it's gonna put a lot more vegetation on the surface, but we're gonna run around, see if we can find some current breaks or some swings in the lake where there's visible grass and throw a frog, and then we might have to go subsurface and throw a fluke or a worm or chatterbait, something like that. But here we go, let's go find some. That was a good one, a 4-pounder. Let's see if we can get him again. Dang it. It's the ones we want right there. I was hoping he'd come back and eat it a second time. Just blew up through that grass and bummer. Came up for a little taste of the whiplash shad. Thanks, dude. Just came up. You know, this whiplash shad is a lot softer than your traditional Zoom Super Fluke. It's got a lot more gliding action. So when I'm working it, it's just like, it's not like a twitch. I mean, although you can get aggressive with it, it's more like a twitch or a real twitch, and you get that thing like a lot wider side to side glides. But got that one on the board. Got some blown up out here on a bait. Well, that was a good sign. Came in here and saw a lot of bait, started fishing on that grass. Missed that big one, caught a decent one, missed another one, looked behind me and saw like bombs dropping everywhere. Couldn't get here in time. There's definitely some activity in here. Poor little guy ate the jowler and didn't know what happened to him. Hopefully, this wasn't all the size blown up that I saw, but anytime you can catch them on topwater, it's a bonus. Of course, the chesty's not working right now because it's too hot, but guy had an appetite. So as you can see, this water's dropped a couple feet like I talked about earlier, but what that does, it's gonna bring this current this way. It's gonna suck this water out of these backwaters, and these fish are gonna hold tight to this hard cover, these bridge pilings. But more importantly, if you have an opportunity or a chance to fish either side, you always want to cast upstream and bring your bait downstream, because these fish are gonna be sitting with their face right in the current as this water comes out. So make sure that you're fishing the right direction if you're on a body of water that has current moving. A lot of times these fish are gonna be right up, basically touching the pilings. It's good shade in here, good ambush spots, right up there on the corners. Another good spot would be over here on this corner. Those fish hold right out of the current, right there. Come on. All right, we tried. Let's get back to fishing some grass. So guys, one thing with fishing grass, obviously we already talked about it earlier, but this water's dropping. You can see a lot of this eel grass is dead on the surface or lying on the surface. But more importantly, I'm seeing life. I'm seeing bluegill, I'm seeing bait fish, I'm seeing little bass, I'm seeing bass swimming around. So it's really important this time of the year, especially, you know, late in summer. These fish get in this grass and ambush from it, but you want lively grass. You don't want dead grass. And so you want that real green, healthy looking stuff, but more importantly, you want stuff like this where there's bluegill and bait fish swimming all over. Little bass right here looking at me. You know, this is a lively area. So pay attention to that next time you're fishing some grass. dude. Another soft plastic jerkbait, or soft jerkbait eater. Again, that's whiplash shad, guys. This water's really clear. I don't know if you can tell with the chesty or not. I don't have a polarized filter on there or not today, but this thing is super soft. You know, so we talked about it earlier. The fluke is real erratic. It's more of a denser plastic, more stiff of a plastic, but it's real erratic. This thing is so soft, I kid you not, guys. When you pause it and this thing stalls out, it does like the Senko shimmy. It is an amazing, amazing bait. Completely different than a fluke. Real wide. You can get this thing going like 1.5 to 2 feet side to side, just twitch, almost like an underwater, like a subsurface glide bait. But then again, it does kind of that death spiral, and then it also does that little shimmy, that Senko shimmy. Really, really cool bait. But again, I'm just fishing this grass line. With this water dropping, I don't feel like those fish are gonna be in the back. They're gonna be kind of nervous and pull out to the edge. So I'm just gonna run along this grass line, fish it, and then we'll go try another spot. I missed that one. Think I got bit. Bummer. Just a whole bunch of grass. Thanks, dude. Being able to fish a reaction bait through this stuff is key. These fish are chasing bait. We saw that earlier. And I don't know if there's a better bait than soft plastic jerkbait, because it's weedless. You can work it really fast and get it up on the surface and skipping and jumping around like a fleeing bait fish. But you can also rip, let it fall, right? Do that death spiral along these grass edges. You hit it, it comes up through the grass. You know, if you're throwing any other exposed hook bait, you're gonna have a headache trying to fish that thing all day. But being able to rip this through and get those fish to react to that twitch is really key. So if you find yourself fishing around a lot of vegetation, I mean, a fluke, soft plastic jerkbait is good a lot, many months out of the year. But if you find yourself around grass, I don't know if there's a better weedless reaction bait. Pop that hook through and then just hook it back into itself, just to expose it so it stays weedless. But twitch, let it fall. A lot of times you'll see your line jump, so pay attention to your line. You'll see that line jump like a weightless Senko bite. You're watching that line as this thing's falling and shimmying. You'll see that jolt, but some other times they try and take the rod out of your hand. All right, got a frog eater. Oh, look at that. Frog just fell out. Thanks, bud. got him. Thanks, dude. Ran around, tried throwing a frog, got one, missed two, and figured I'd pick the fluke back up, or the jerkbait back up, and got that nice one off of that hard structure. Well, that was like a 5-pound largemouth. That sucks. Well, that one sucks. That's the bite we were fishing for all day. Ran down here to the lower part of the lake. A lot of current down here, and there's a big cement wall with, I could see the current wrapping around it. Through the topwater along it, these fish will hang right up, almost touching that cement, that wall. Threw that topwater up against it, nothing. Picked up the spinning rod, threw that freeloader out there, let it fall like 8 feet, started shaking it, just loaded up. I didn't know if it was a 10-inch spot or a 5 or 6 pound largemouth, and just peeled drag and just came straight up and head shook, and poof, there goes my bait. But definitely unexpected, but it was a high percentage location for sure. Obviously, don't want to eat the topwater, but bummed that I didn't get that one to the boat. That was the kicker fish for today. That was a big one. I'm gonna go try the other side. Obviously, with this much current wrapping around things, I'm gonna go try over there and see if we can duplicate it. That one tried to jump straight up too. A lot smaller than the one I dumped, but lined up the same. So guys, if you find yourself messing up and dumping the big ones, dumping any fish, let that area rest, come back and try it again. Dang it, I'm drifting up on it. But usually those fish will reload and reposition. You might not catch the one you already stuck, but there's usually other fish in that same area. All right, guys, I think we're gonna call it an evening. Caught some fish, choked on the 2 good ones. It's just one of those things that happens sometimes. You know, within that first, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes or hour or so, I had that, it's like a 4 to 5 pounder that just came up. So an interesting dynamic today. Early on, I told you that they had dropped the lake, right? It's down like 2 or 3 feet. Well, fished a bunch of areas, went back in an area, and you could see where I caught those first few fish, there was grass on the surface. Okay, it's where I missed that first big one, that 4 to 5 pounder. Basically, there was holes in the grass. I was throwing that whiplash shad, basically skipping across the surface along the grass, or on top of the grass. And once it get to that clearing or a little bit less dense vegetation, I would kill it and let it fall and kind of do that death spiral, and I'd twitch, and had that one just come out, and she came out and just ate it, and I swung and just didn't get a hook in her. And then I caught some little ones in there. But the interesting dynamic is, you know, earlier in this video, I told you that with dropping water, those fish pull from the back and get on the front edge of the grass, right? They, you know, they know that that water, that ceiling's coming down on them, so they're gonna vacate and go out to deeper water, and they'll get on that outside grass line, deeper water grass line. Well, I went back in there this evening, and all that grass was on the surface is now like 6 inches underwater. So then sometime throughout the day, the lake came up. I knew there was a bunch of current. I could see it down there. It's where I dumped that other big one. But basically that current was ripping around that cement wall. Threw topwater along it, nothing. They didn't really want to eat topwater today. I did catch one frogfish. I caught one little fish on the this guy right here. The jowler. Got a cool little cup face. Great sound, good hooks. Just a cool new topwater we've been playing around with. I caught a little one on that. But threw topwater along that wall, where a lot of times that's where you're gonna get bit, you know, right up, stuck up against that wall, and they'll come up and eat the topwater. Well, they didn't. So I took that freeloader on a guppy head, basically like mid-strolling it. No forward facing, just threw it up there in the shade. There was about a 3-foot shade line. I could see little bait fish flickering. Throw it up there, let it sink, in my mind, like 6 to 8 feet. And then I just started shaking and reeling, and it went tunk and loaded up. I set, peel, drag, and that fish came straight up. Hopefully you see it on the chesty, but poof, threw that thing, and just is what it is. So I choked on both of my big fish. I'm gonna say a 4 and a 5.5. And then caught some little fish, some decent fish on the jerkbait. That was really the key bait today. Again, if you're fishing vegetation, if you're throwing a frog, you need to have a second rod rigged and ready with a fluke or a whiplash shad, some kind of soft plastic jerkbait. I explained the differences earlier in this video, but really impressed with that whiplash shad. But it just kind of goes hand in hand, right? If you're throwing that frog into that vegetation, over the top of it, you know, you're walking it or you're popping it, whatever you're doing, and they're not wanting to come up and eat, a lot of times you can get those fish to react to that subsurface darting. Today they did. Went through a bunch of baits, had a lot of little fish just grabbing the back of it and taking it. But a great evening out in the water. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff on current fishing and grass fishing. Especially when there's current, they pull to that outside edge. You know, that's where I caught that frogfish, out on that outside edge. And then I wish I would have known the water was rising because as soon as that water flips, it's a lot like the Delta, California Delta, you know, where you have a tidal system, right? Where you have an outgoing tide and all those fish pull out to that outside line. Then you have an incoming tide and they all go to that inside line. They completely change where they position. So keep that in mind next time you're fishing a lake that might draw down and raise right back up the same day, or you're on a tidal situation. But guys, as always, I thank you for the support. Thanks for watching. I'll link some of the baits I'll link all the baits down below in the video description that I caught them on. And yeah, great evening out on the water. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys on the next video.